Another little tidbit, Tim, of American presidential politics.
What, you mean the Newt or the Romney?
The imposter in the pink house. He flew on Air Force One. The guy flies all over the place. He's flown more than any other president. He flew to Arizona today, and Arizona Governor Jan Brewer, who signed that law which cracked down on illegal immigrants coming across the border in her state, which Obama doesn't like at all. He's in favor of illegal immigration.
No, because he's an illegal immigrant himself.
That's exactly it. Here's the story from MSNBC. Arizona Governor Jan Brewer and President, can hardly say his name, you know who he is, engaged in an apparently tense exchange on an airport runway shortly after Air Force One touched down outside Phoenix today on Wednesday. The two leaders could be seen talking intently at the base of Air Force One's steps. Both could be seen smiling but speaking at the same time. Obama then appeared to walk away from the Republican governor while they were still talking. This according to the White House press pool reporter. Brewer, the governor, confirmed that by saying she hadn't finished speaking. Asked moments later what the conversation was about, Brewer said he was a little disturbed about my book. On a Phoenix radio talk show after their meeting, Brewer said Obama was tense. Brewer, of course, has recently published a book which has caused a lot of uproar called Scorpions for Breakfast, something of a memoir of her years growing up, in which she defends Arizona's controversial law cracking down on illegal immigrants, which Obama, as I mentioned, opposes. I'm going to put the story up in a few minutes.
But anyway, the real masters in America, of course, are the all from J.P. Morgan Chase and the rest of them.
Agreed. All right. Now, back to Iran and so forth. The U.S. is sending its oldest aircraft carrier, which has actually been around since 1962 in the Cuban Missile Crisis. It's the oldest serving ship of the Navy. It would be the perfect false flag target to be sent to the bottom. They're going to retire it next year anyhow. So you never know.
No, as I say, it's a must-do if we're going to have the Albert Pike World War III between the Zionist Jews and the Muslims, that we have war with Iran. From the Illuminati standpoint, the eye on top of the pyramid, if you don't know that, just look on a dollar bill. It's absolutely vital to bring in the total rule of the Zionist Rothchild Satanists, and as far as I know, the Iranians are one of the few people who've got souls. The Westerners are basically soulless, and they worship a proper god that doesn't preach total genocide of other races. So, of course, one can see there's a massive occult agenda, and, of course, sinking the Enterprise, which, of course, is for the most normal Bolshevik Americans, is synonymous with the Starship Enterprise, has to be a prime candidate for, a dreadful Gulf of Tonkin type.
It really is. Remember, they're going to retire the ship next year, so you're right.
What better way to retire it than sinking it and blaming it on the Iranians?
Remember the word Zionist didn't actually come into popular usage until the late 1880s. Albert Pike wrote this letter I'm going to quote from now, August 15th, 1871, and the letter graphically outlines plans for 3 world wars that were seen as necessary to bring about the one world order. All right? Now, I've read this letter before. It's on my website. If you just look in the search engine on rense.com and type in Pike's letter, you'll see it. Here's what he said about the Third World War. This was written in 1871, all right, 6 years after the Civil War ended in the U.S. He said, the Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agent tour of the Illuminati, in other words, their agents, between the political Zionists, there's that word, before it was even used, the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the State of Israel, we can add the United States to that, I think, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on the issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in the public view. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. End of quote.
Yeah, so you can see if you're going to exterminate Christianity, it's exterminated in the West. So the only Christians in the world are the Orthodox churches. The Greeks are in the process of being destroyed economically. So it's all planned. World War III is one giant far future occult Illuminati, call it what you want, technology, which of course once it's completed will bring in the complete dominion of the Rothschilds, who understands this technology, and the Illuminati. So you can actually see that all of this, the carriers moving into the Gulf, the sanctions on Iran, has not a short-term ends the Muslim threat to Israel, but in fact is the final end of humanity as a free-thinking, independent entity, and the total culmination of the Illuminati plan to put them as slaves in the slave field in a reality which is totally controlled and is actually artificially made by the destruction of the souls of people with souls